So then the next layer of like emotional resources is, which and this crosswalks with like the marriage, like an essential element of marriage is that the spouses are giving each other mutual support, like in this emotional arena, and it specifically talks about the need for esteem, that you feel self-esteem, you feel like you are exercising like your individual freedom, and but also that you feel respected by others and that like other people recognize your value. So that's like the next layer after feeling loved and feeling belonging is to feel esteem. So maybe let's start with like how you develop your like self-esteem as a young adult, like in preparation for like, so you're mature enough to get married and start a family. Like what advice would you give to a young Jack and Jill who are like trying to, I want to be in the right place to, have what I need so that I'm also able to support my spouse?
I mean, I think one thing to start with is, and this is where I think you and I differ a little bit, which is I feel like the self-esteem and like the maturity piece of this takes time. So like that's why I don't like when people are like, I'm getting married at 18 or 20. I'm like I think it's something like it's either 21 or 26 that your brain is still developing and like finalizing itself. So like you are not emotionally mature at 18. You're still all of the things that are kind of firing and whatever. And so my initial thought is just like you need to take the time to, and people come to it in different ways. Everybody's different, right? Like you guys actually got married much younger than we did. I think you both were like more mature at where you were and kind of knowing what you wanted and who you were. And so, but I think that's like kind of the key piece is like that self-esteem, like at 18, probably you're still questioning yourself and trying to figure it out.
But these two have 10 years to sort themselves out before they're going to get married.
Right. And so, but that's where I think like that is the part of like, you have to be a self-assured individual before you can seek a partner. You cannot seek that in the other person. Mm-hmm. They can amplify it. You want someone who is like supportive of you, but you can't look for fulfillment in the other person because you'll never find it.
It's going to backfire at some point.
Right.
Yeah, it might seem good at first, but it's going to come back.
Has that happened?
I said because they were
therapy begins.
This is actually an elaborate.
No, but I think you're right. I think, unfortunately, at 18, they're going to have to live experiences. They're going to have to, unfortunately, life and situations are going to have to happen for them to build their esteems, the confidence in who they are, what they're going to bring. I think that's unfortunately time. So when you said at 18 years old, we don't particularly think someone should get married. First 25 years old, 26 years old, that's a big gap of so many life experiences. So if, stupid example, but at 18 you're still partying, you want to have fun and all that, like you're not thinking of
your future mother of your children,
but at 20 something now it's different because you can now look back and see other 18 year olds and be like, oh wait, that's how I was, like. So I think you have to live those experiences to appreciate and understand those, to appreciate life and how you want to be and don't want to be, because you're seeing other people take those different paths.
Do you think that like this, we started off talking about like financial maturity and like becoming more independent and recognizing like taking seriously what the value of money and the value of like the things that you spend your money on, and like you one way to think about that is like, well, you can get better at that more and sooner by taking more responsibility earlier on. Do you think there's parallels when it comes to like your self-esteem and like sense of identity and your maturity?
Absolutely.
Like what do you think people do in their young adulthood that drags out, like they're not maturing as quickly as they could, versus like, but if you do these things you will like develop more maturity faster or more thoroughly, like so you're in a better place, you are more mature earlier on? Can you think of things like that?
I think having your own responsibilities, not having, as much as maybe mom and dad are really great at, providing you with all these things, at some point at 18, you have to take on the responsibility of having a part-time job and knowing how to do laundry at college or pay for your own books in college, whatever it is. Because otherwise then you're not really learning the value of something because you're just having it given to you.
Yeah. I mean,
So
so
I
do
feel
you
like
think
that goes for money,
yeah.
you know,
You're saying it
all
bleeds
those
over.
things.
It bleeds
Yeah.
over into like your own self-esteem, also, not just the financial.
Yeah, because you feel
piece.
good about yourself then.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can accomplish this, and
And then it becomes a way to almost brag to others, you know, like, listen, like, I'm going to school and taking so many credits, I'm working this job, and I feel like that's...
You're building your
You're
esteem
building
that
your
way.
esteem, yeah.
And again, for good, you can look at it as good and bad, but social media, people want to better themselves because
just
that
to be able to
person's
post it.
just to post it and get those
Yeah.
likes, but they're looking at other people and like, wait a minute, they're doing that. Well, I got to do that. You know, like I got to do better than that. So,
Yeah.
I think like also not just living day to day. I think that's like something you do when you're 18, right? Like you're worried about like the here and now, like
Right.
who likes me? What like am I? You know, what am I gonna do today? Which friend am I gonna hang out with? Like, and I think that moving from that to like, if you want to be a very mature 20-something, like stopping to think about how you want to develop yourself, right? And like what kind of achievements you do want to have. Like maybe it is like, you know, maybe from a volunteering perspective, like being able to give back to the community is really important to you. That builds a sense of esteem. And so I think like stopping to like kind of map out like what are the important things and the, you know, characteristics that you want to develop in yourself. And we've talked about some of them based on like being a good spouse and things, but what is it that you want to build, and how can you, like, think about how you can get there versus like the thought of like, I'm in my 20s and like I'm just gonna like live my best life. You should still do that. You should still have have fun, but like keeping in mind that there are probably some like you want to have like a destination in mind, like what are the things I want to accomplish and do.